Welcome back to watching the second part of my video series, The Evolution of Digital Color Grading. If you haven't watched the first part of this presentation yet, I highly recommend watching it. In the first part of this video series, I talk about how motion pictures started as black and white films and how color slowly snuck its way into the movies. So this video is going to be more about what color means and what are some color harmonies. I hope you enjoy. The current perception of color and light stems from Isaac Newton's experiments and observations using a prism. He discovered that white light can be scattered into several different colors by a prism and that the same colors can be assembled back into a single point to produce white light. This observation in the late 1660s revolutionized color theory. The world's first color wheel was created based on these observations, and it was divided into 7 different colors. As of today, monitors and media devices use trichromatic color theory. It uses additive color mixing, which includes 3 colors: red, green and blue. White light is obtained by mixing all of the 3 colors together. By mixing these colors, one can produce almost all of the colors that are visible to human eye. Here's additive color mixing on the left and subtractive color mixing on the right. When printing photos to paper, subtractive color mixture is used. The general idea of primary colors originated when Thomas Young concluded in the early 19th century that the ability to see colors is based on 3 different receptors in the eye. In the mid-19th century, Hermann von Helmholtz reasoned that if one has 3 different kinds of receptors in the eye, it should be possible to reproduce all wavelengths of color from 3 different light sources: red, green and blue. Colors may distract, amuse, confuse, excite, or scare. Psychologist Robert Plutchik created a wheel of emotions which is based on this thought. It is known as a color guide for different emotions. His suggestion includes 8 primary colors that serve as the foundation of all emotions. These are anger, anticipation, joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, and disgust. The intensity of each color determines the strength of the emotion. It is one's personal interpretation of their content, thus communicating exclusively through them is challenging. Education, age, cultural traditions, or even heritage can affect how a color is perceived. It is not only socially helpful skill to learn, but also a necessity for one that must work with them on a daily basis. Nevertheless, most colors seem to have universal properties that affect most people. Inside Out is an animation film produced by Pixar in 2015. The film is based loosely on the experience of the director Pete Docter as he noticed changes in his daughter's personality as she was growing up. Animation producers had consulted several psychologists when writing the script to emphasize different emotional states and how they affect human relationships. In addition to the human world of the film, there is a second world, a world of emotions, where they are embodied and have their own will. In the world of emotions, colors are vivid and correlate different emotional states that are very similar to those seen in Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions. Riley, the film's young protagonist, has had many sweet and fond memories as she is growing up. As she and her family move from a small town to a bigger city, her social life is devastated. Her positive attitude stems from her previous experiences, but slowly the anxiety she gets from living in a big city and new environment make her withdrawn. Riley's clothes reflect the state of her mind, going from happy to melancholic. colors around the world in countless different ways. It has a way of physically influencing us through emotions and decisions. Designing color harmonies started when it was noticed that some colors worked better together while others did not. One can play with familiar, beautiful harmonies, or intentionally break a safe pattern to cause contradiction and a sense of discomfort. In filmmaking, designing a color harmony should be started early in pre-production. Together with the help of producer and director, production designer identifies design style for sets, props, lighting, and costumes. Together with the DOP, director may monitor the video feed with a pre-selected gamma and color space. This allows one to see the appropriate colors during the shoot, and it makes it easier for one to perceive the almost final image of a film on the set. Ultimately, everything we see on TV, films, advertising, or any other form of media has taken influence from somewhere else. Not only do the people that currently work in media adjust the appearance and development of colors, but as well the consumers from which information and data may be collected define what holds in the future. This is Mad Max from 2015. The main plot focuses on a runaway attempt by a small group of people. The runaway is done with rusty vehicles on desert, with clear skies, dirty scene everywhere, explosions here and there, and of course there's a flamethrower guitarist. See the color palette already? In Academy Awards, Mad Max Fury Road won among several other awards the Best Costume Design and Production Design. It was also nominated as the Best Film of the Year. This complementary color scheme might be one of the most common and recognizable of all. These two colors are easy to cover in any film regardless of the genre, but it is most often used in action films where orange is visible in skin, fire, and explosions. Blue covers the sky, water, cold, and night. These two colors provide a nice stimulating combination and a contrast that is visually pleasing when done right. The combination of green and blue is often used in horror movies and thrillers. It often gives an unpleasant and sometimes supernatural look. Blue may symbolize cold and is often mixed to shadows. Green gives an unpleasant color to the skin and gives the illusion of a nauseous feeling or an unpleasant situation. As the name implies, the horror thriller Green Room uses green lighting every now and then. It is to remind the viewer of the uncomfortable situation and the anxiety of the protagonists. A green tint is also often seen as something that makes especially the indoor shots look dirtier than they are. In 2019 film Joker, green is surprisingly dominant hue in many scenes. Working with colors is joyful, yet equally important is knowing when to remove color. Sometimes, when one wants to present an environment, a scenical place, it is more beneficial to take away colors rather than add them. Several war movies and dystopian movies use this technique to emphasize loneliness and misfortune. Hardly saturated images were such a big trend on social media in 2018 that even articles were written about it.